Now we will continue the revolutions 1830 to 1848. Keep the book in front of you. As conservative regimes tried to consolidate their power, liberalism and nationalism came to be increasingly associated with revolution in many regimes of Europe, such as the Italian and German states, the provinces of Ottoman Empire, Ireland and Poland. These revolutions were led by the liberal nationalists belonging to the educated middle-class elite, among whom were professors, school teachers, clerks, and members of the commercial middle classes. The first upheaval took in France in July 1830. The Bourbon kings who had been restored to power during the conservative reactions after 1815 were now overthrown by liberal revolutionaries who installed the constitutional monarchy with Louis Philippe at its head. When Franz Neizer's Metternich once remarked, the rest of the Europe catches cold. The July Revolution sparked an uprising in Brussels, which led Belgium breaking away from the United Kingdom of the Netherlands. See, in these two paragraphs, they explained about the groups many groups were there. They tried to consolidate their power. Liberalism and nationalism came to be increasingly associated with many of the countries. That means many countries cope up with that. They put their hands together to increasing the associated with the revolutions of the liberalism and the nationalism. So which are the countries were associated with that is Italians, German states and Ottoman Empire, Ireland and Poland. These states together they associated with this revolution, and these revolutions were led by the liberal nationalists. That we know that. To the educated middle class people, they were involved in that, like the teachers, professors, clerks, members of the commercial middle class people. Those people are involved in this revolution. The first violent, underline the word upheaval, the meaning is violent, took place in France in July 1830. We know that the Bourbon family came into the power. When they came into the power? Again in the 1815, isn't it? They came into the power, but they were overthrown by the liberal revolutionaries. Again, they are come down from their throne. That is, the system of monarchy was collapsed there. So liberalism was, again it was there only in the France. So this was led by the Louis Philippe. That is, who installed the constitutional monarchy with Louis Philippe. It is as it said, because he was the person who led this movement. Understood? The July Revolution sparked an upheaval which led by a Belgium breaking away from United Kingdoms and Netherlands. The July Revolution sparked out the uprising Brussels and from the United Kingdoms and the Netherlands. Understood? Shall we continue? An event that mobilized nationalist feelings among the educated elite across Europe was the Greek War of Independence. Greece had been a part of Ottoman Empire since the 15th century. The growth of revolutionary nationalism in Europe sparked off a struggle for independence amongst the Greeks which began in 1821. Nationalists in Greece got support from other Greeks living in exile and also from many West Europeans who had sympathized for ancient Greek culture. Poets and artists lauded Greece as the cradle of European civilization and mobilized public opinion to support its struggle against the Muslim Empire. The English poet Lord Byron organized funds and later went to fight in the war, where he died in fever in 1824. Finally, the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as an independent nation. See, this nationalist feeling is there, that was spread among the, mobilized means spread among the Europe, that is the organized for the Greek War of Independence. Greece had been a part of Ottoman Empire since the 15th century. And Greece was in the 15th century, it was in Ottoman Empire. The growth of revolutionary nationalism in Europe sparked the struggle of independence amongst the Greece. These growth of revolution, these liberal people and the nationalism are all over the country is spread off, right? It was give the strength to the independent, to fight for the independence amongst the Greeks. That began in 1821. Nationalists in Greece got support from the Greeks living in exile and also from many of the West European who had sympathized for ancient Greek culture. That means they got the support from other countries, that is West European countries, for this revolution. Poets and artists lauded Greece as the cradle of European civilization and mobilized the opinion. That means the poets and the artists also supported, organized this mobilization of the civilization and the nationalism against this Muslim empire. They are struggle for the struggle against the Muslim empire. The English poet Lord Byron organized funds, and later he was fight for the war, but later he died in fever in 1824. Finally, the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized as Greece is an independent nation. Is it clear, children? Shall we go to the next paragraph? I'll repeat this paragraph. That this event, this nationalism movement was mobilized even the Greek also. So this make the people for the work for the independence. It has been a part of Ottoman Empire, but they took the support from the European countries, and the war of independence was started in 1821. Nationalists they also got the support from the West Europeans, and they sympathized for the Greek culture. Poets and artists, Greece as the cradle of European civilization. That is, it is a baby, cradle means it is the supporting from the European civilization, and they supported struggle against the Muslim empire. They support them for the against go to the Muslim empire. The English poet, the Lord Byron, he was the organized the funds also, and he died with fever in 1824. Finally, Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 declared that Greece is an independent nation. Is it clear? The development of nationalism did not come through the wars and the expansion of the territorials. It will come through the culture. Culture played a very important role in these ideas. It comes through the culture and the and it also helped the artists and art, poetry, stories and music help to express their shape of nationalist feeling. That means while we are writing if we are writing something, that means the art, we are showing our patriotism, nationalism through the art, and we are singing a song through the nation by praising our nation, and we are writing a poets, and we are writing some of the words with the synchronization that will be related to our nation. These are all the things will build the nationalism in our heart. That feelings will come through this art, music and this poetry, etc. Let us look at the Romanticism. Romanticism, a culture movement which sought to develop a particular form of nationalist sentiment. Romantic artists and poets generally criticized the glorification of reason and science, and focused instead of emotions, intuition and mystical feelings. Their efforts was to create a sense of a shared collective heritage, a common culture passed as the basis of a nation. That means, so how the nationalism will create ourselves means by poetry, by art, by stories, by music, isn't it? All these things will help us to develop our nationalist feeling. So in the Romanticism, a culture movement was sort of developed the particular form of national sentiment. That is, romantic artists, the poetic generally criticize the gloriism. That means some will be there to criticize. That also will help us to develop our nationalist feeling with us. See this one, that is that emotions can be understandable. Underline the word intuition, that is the ability to understand. The meaning of that intuition is ability to understand, and mystical feelings. They inspire this feeling of the nationalist. Their effort was to create a sense of collective heritage, the common culture on the basis of nation. It inspires the common culture. It inspires the heritage of the nation. In this way, the nationalism can be developed. The Romantics, such as the German philosopher John Gottfried Herder, 1744 to 1803, claimed that true German culture was to be discovered among the common people. It was through folk songs, folk poetry, and folk dances that the true spirit of the nation was popularized. So, collecting, recording these forms of folk culture was essential to the project of nation building. The emphasis of vernacular language and the collection of local folklore was not just to recover an ancient national spirit but also to carry the modern nationalist message to large audience who were mostly illiterate. This was especially so in the case of Poland, which had been patronized at the end of the 18th century by the great powers Russia, Prussia and Austria. Even though Poland no longer existed as an independent territory, national feeling were kept alive through music and language. Karol Karpinski, for example, celebrated the national struggle through his operas and music, tuning folk dances like Polonaise and Mazurka into nationalist symbols. They explain in this paragraph is the German philosopher John Gottfried Herder, he was proved that the culture was to be covered among the common people. That means what the culture they are following, it will be common for everybody in the country or the empire. They express their national feeling through their poetries, through their folk songs. It was so popular. The folk songs, what they are making as a country, it was so popular that creates the nationalist feeling for them. So collecting and recording these forms of folk culture was essential for the project of nation building. That means to build the nationalism in our with us, so they have to present the songs, the folk songs and the essential project. The essential folk songs are folk dances. The emphasis on vernacular language and the collection of local folklore was not just to recover the ancient. That means only the creating of the folk dances, that will not be helpful for us. The language played a very important role in this nationalism. But also to carry the it carries the not only the ancient national spirit but also to the modern message to the large audience. Many of the it can be covered by the large amount of people there. Those who are illiterate, that means what they can't understand, that they can understand through this dance and songs. That is the way the nationalism can be developed in the countries. Especially in the case of Poland, which had been patronized at the end of the 18th century. The people in the Poland, they were patronized with that. They are Poland was in the great powers of Prussia, Russia and Austria. Even though Poland is no longer existed as an independent territory, the national feelings were kept alive. If they are not an independent territory also, they have that national feelings through their language and music. They express their national feelings through their language and feelings. Who are doing this? The Poland. In the Poland. It is not an independent territory. It is under the control of Austria, Prussia and the Russia. But the feeling of nationalism was there, were kept still in their minds. So, what we can understand in this is music and the language and the dance, these things are very important, played an important role in the nationalism. Understood? So, even they make the folk dances, tuning the folk dances through the music, and they also make this national symbols. Nationalist symbols also make them to become a nationalist. They will make the nationalist symbols also. Understood? Shall we go to the next paragraph? In the last paragraph, we learnt about the nationalism developed through the folk song, folk dances and the presentation of the speeches for the illiterate people. Right? In this paragraph, language too played an important role in developing nationalist sentiments. After Russian occupation, the Polish language was forced out of schools and Russian language was imposed everywhere. In 1831, an armed rebellion against Indian Russian rule took place, which was ultimately crushed. Following this, many members of the clergies in Poland began to use language as a weapon of national resistance. Polish was used for church gatherings and all religious instruction. As a result, a large number of priests and bishops were put in jail or sent to Siberia by the Russian authorities as punishment for their refusal to preach in Russian. The use of Polish came to be seen as a symbol of the struggle against Russian dominance. So what they explain is the language played a very important role. As soon as the Poland, we know that they don't have a independence there. Their territory was not at all independent. But what happened in the Poland? The Polish language was used in that place. So Russians were right? They are occupying their territory. As soon as they are occupying their territory, what they were using the Polish language, that was abolished. That was forced out of the schools. So they are not ready to accept their language. They should use the Russian language, right? So that what they did, in 1831, the armed rebellion against for this, what they are imposing, they are forcing the people to use this language, they are against to this. So that Poland began the language weapon as a national resistance. This is the main resistance of the language. The Polish was used even in the churches to give the instructions. In the churches, the people will gather together, right? They are giving some instructions in the Polish language only. So because of that, priests and the bishops were put in jail. They were punished, or they sent to the Siberia by the Russian authorities as a punishment of their refusal of using the language of Russian language. They are not ready to use the Russian language, so they were punished. The use of Polish became a symbol of struggle for the against the Russian dominance. Understood? Shall we go to the next paragraph? Next, we move on to hunger, hardship and popular revolt. In 1830s were years of a great economic hardship in Europe. The first half of the 19th century saw an enormous increase in population all over Europe. In most countries, there were more seekers of jobs than employment. Population from rural areas migrated to the cities to live in overcrowded slums. Small producers in towns were often faced with stiff competition from imports. Cheap machines made goods from England, where industrialization was more advanced than on the continent. This was especially so in textile production, which was carried out mainly in homes or small workshop, was only partly mechanized. In those regions of Europe where the aristocracy still enjoyed power, peasants struggled under the burden of feudal dues and obligations. The rise of food prices or a year bad harvest led to widespread pauperism in town and country. Underline the word pauperism. The meaning is very poor person. Okay, shall we explain? See, as soon as we learned that the language is very important, they are using polish, the priests were imprisoned there, right? So next we move on to the development of the country, development of the empire. So in 1830, there were great economic hardship in Europe. The first half, the 19th century, saw the enormous increase of the population. If the population is more, the production should be more. If the production is less, the people are definitely, they will suffer. That we know. It is a common thing. Everybody knows that if the population is more, we have to cultivate more and more production food for us. Otherwise, it is not sufficient for. In the same way, the countries saw the enormous increase of population. So in most of the countries, there were more seekers of jobs than unemployment. Than employment. The job seekers were more. Population from rural areas, they migrated to the cities. That was make the crowded in slums. When the people migrated from rural to the cities, the population is more. In the city, population will increase. So where they were there, they were in the crowded slums. The small productions in towns were often faced this stiff competition. There is a big competition in this import of, because they import the cheap machine goods from England. Understood? They import the goods from the especially the textile productions were imposed from the England. So this was affected to the people, those who depend on that. Those who are depending on these productions, they are doing it, but they got from the cheapest cost. These materials and this textile production, they will get with the they got with the cheapest cost. So this was affected for this. But this was affected for especially for the peasants, because they are completely struggled for that, and they are the burden of feudal dues and obligations were there. So the rise of food products, the rise of food prices on the year of bad harvest. They will not get the sufficient rain to get the good crops. That the very person, that is, the pauperism means a very poor person in towns and country. That means the people are very poor. When they are not getting the good crops, they are depending on that, they will become poor only. That we know already. The same thing was happened even in the Europe. Because once again I will explain you, in 1830s the great economic hardship, that we know that if the population is more, our production should be more. If you are not give the good production for that, automatically it is difficult for them to live. So what the people did, they came from rural to the cities. Because of that, the slums were crowded there. As soon as the slum crowded, they will not get they start importing the goods from England, because England is already, industrialization was there in 18th century only, right? So they start importing the goods from the England itself. So this will affect it to the peasants, because they are already burdened with the feudal dues. So that the rise of the price of the food. The price was rising. The food price was rising. This was affected to the peasants. Why this was raised means they were not getting the prop. That led to the pauperism. That means the very poor person in towns and country. Understood? The year 1848 was one such year. Food shortage was widespread. Unemployment brought the population of Paris out on the roads. The barricades were erected and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. A National Assembly proclaimed a republic, granted suffrage to all adult males above 21 and guaranteed the right to work. National workshops to provide employment were set up. Earlier in 1845, weavers in Silesia had led a revolt against contractors who supplied them raw material and gave them orders for finished textiles but drastically reduced their payments. The journalist Wilhelm Wolff described this event in a Silesian village as follows. The year 1848, one such year, food shortage or widespread unemployment brought the Paris people on the road. That means because of the rising of the population, the food cannot be provided properly to the people. So the barricades were erected and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. That is, he ran away. They sent him out. The National Assembly proclaimed a republic. That we know that what is National Assembly, I already explained you. They gave the suffrage, that means right to vote. They granted right to vote for all the adults at above the age of 21 years and guaranteed the right to work. What they did? They gave the permission, they gave the right to vote for all the adults above the age of 21, and the national workshops provided employment was set up in that place. So earlier 1851, the weavers in Silesia had led to a revolt against the contractors. What they did, who supplied the raw materials and gave them the orders and finished textiles, they used to give the orders for them and they supplied everything. But drastically they gave very less price for that. They changed, they reduced the payments. They reduced their payments. So that the people, they are not satisfied with the payment what they were getting. So the journalist Wilhelm Wolff described the events in a Silesian village as follows. So weavers paid very less payments, right? In these villages, 18,000 inhabitants, cotton weaving most widespread occupation. That means 18,000 people were dependent on this occupation. The misery of work is extreme, it is. So the desperate needs more jobs being taken advantage from the contractors. The people, the contractors came to know that they need a job now. So they took the advantage of that and they reduced the price of the goods what they ordered. Some goods were manufacturing from the weavers. So the contractors, what they did, they reduced the prices because they know that if we reduce also, they will continue weaving the clothes, continue the production. So that what they did, they took the advantage of that and reduced the prices of the products. So on June 4th, 2 p.m., the large crowd of weavers from their homes and marched in Paris up to the mansion of their contractors demanding the higher wages. They start protesting against that. The group of people, they went in Paris to their contractor houses to demand the higher wages. They were treated stern and threats alternatively. They were treated very badly. So they became so angry. The people will become so angry. They cannot tolerate that. Following this, what they did, one group of people, they went and smashed their windows and furnitures of their houses, the contractors' houses. And another group of people, what they did, they went into the store. What they stored in their products and all they used to store, right? That they went into that storeroom and they tore all the things. What are the things are there? Underline the word plundered. Underline the word plundered. That means without the permission of the person, they are entered to the, but that means they steal the goods. It is not the correct, but with that angry they did like this. So the word underline, plundered, it is they steal the goods without the permission. That is, steal means it is without the permission only. So that they did like that. The contractor fled with their families. They are afraid of that and fled with their families to the neighbor village. They went to the villages. Then very close villages will be there, no? So there they went. The village people, they are not given the shelter for those people. The contractors are not get the shelters in those villages. But they returned within 24 hours, later having the requisitioned the army. That means the official order from the army. In exchange that followed, 11 weavers were shot. That means they came back to their places with the requisition of the army. That means the official order of the army, and in the exchange that followed, the 11 weavers were shot. The whole paragraph, what it explains is, the people, those who need money, they will depending on the wages only. If they are not giving the proper wages, what they will start demanding them. When they demanding, the influential people, they will get the support from the government or the people, those who are organizing there. So the other weavers, 11 weavers were shot. Understood? Shall we continue? 1848 revolution of the liberals from the next class. Thank you, children.